Pain has this way of arriving uninvited at the worst possible time and with a force you didn't think you could handle. It doesn't knock on your door politely, it kicks it in. It interrupts your plans, derails your vision, and throws you into a storm you didn't ask for. And in those moments, it's tempting to believe pain is here to destroy you, that it's the end of the story you were writing. But here's the truth that changes everything. Pain doesn't end you, pain shapes you. The very thing that feels like it's breaking you is also molding you. Think about it. Every trial, every heartbreak, every failure has left you different than you were before. And yes, sometimes different doesn't feel like an upgrade at first. Sometimes it feels like you've been robbed of your peace, your confidence, your sense of who you are. But when you look closer, you realize pain has been chiseling away the excess, stripping off the pieces of you that couldn't carry you where you're meant to go. We have this instinct to run from pain, to hide from it, to numb ourselves so we don't have to feel it. But pain is a teacher, and the longer we avoid the lesson, the longer we stay stuck in the same chapter of our lives. If you think about the strongest, most grounded people you've ever met, you'll notice something. They've been through things. They've been broken, they've been tested, and they've learned not to fight the breaking, but to let it shape them into something more. I know, in the middle of it, that's hard to believe, when you've just been blindsided, when the weight feels unbearable, when every step feels heavier than the last, the shaping process doesn't feel beautiful. It feels cruel, but here's what I want you to remember. Beauty often hides inside the process. The seed doesn't look like the flower, the raw stone doesn't look like the diamond, and you, right now, might not look like the person you're becoming, but you are becoming. Sometimes pain strips us of what's comfortable so we can step into what's possible. It will remove certain people, close certain doors, and end certain seasons, not to punish you, but to position you. You may feel like you've lost something vital, but what you've really lost are the limits you didn't even know you had, the limits you kept calling security. And shaping is not gentle. It's not a soft touch, it's pressure, it's friction, it's fire. Just like gold is purified in the furnace, you are refined in the heat of adversity. Pain doesn't just teach you about the world, it teaches you about yourself. It shows you how deep your courage goes, how far your resilience stretches, how unshakable your spirit can become when you refuse to quit. One day, you will look back on this season and realize that it did not end you. It ended the version of you that wasn't ready for the life ahead. You'll see how the breaking carved out space for more wisdom, more strength, more compassion, more clarity. The scars will still be there, but they won't represent the wound anymore. They'll represent the healing. They'll be proof that you made it through something that could have crushed you, but instead, it carved you into something stronger. I want you to understand that what feels like the breaking point can also be the shaping point. The same moment that looks like defeat can, with time and perspective, become the exact turning point that changes the trajectory of your life. But you have to let it. You have to stop wishing away the pain long enough to ask, what is this trying to build in me? What is this preparing me for? And here's the part no one tells you. When pain shapes you, it also equips you. You'll carry lessons that make you wiser in the face of new challenges. You'll carry empathy that makes you more compassionate toward others. You'll carry strength that you didn't even think was possible for someone like you. That's why the breaking is never the end, it's the beginning of a new chapter you couldn't have written any other way. So, if life is heavy right now, if it feels like you've been shattered into pieces, don't mistake this season for your final scene. You are still in motion, you are still being shaped. The fire you're in right now is not meant to consume you, it's meant to refine you, and when you come out of it, you won't just be who you were before. You'll be unshakable. You'll be undeniable. You'll be unbreakable. Rock bottom is a place most of us never plan to visit, but life doesn't always wait for our permission. One moment you're walking your path, building your dreams, and the next you've been stripped of everything you thought you could rely on. Your plans fall apart. your resources run dry, the people you trusted disappear, and suddenly you're staring at a version of your life you don't even recognize. It's dark, it's cold, and it feels like there's nowhere lower to go. But here's the thing about rock bottom. It may be the lowest point you've ever been, but it's also solid. It's the one place you can plant your feet without fear of falling any further, and from there you get to make a choice. You can lie down and let it consume you, or you can decide that if you're already at the bottom, the only direction left is up. Rock bottom strips away the illusions we cling to. It takes the false comfort, the empty titles, the shallow security, and it leaves you with only what's real. Your will to fight, your ability to adapt, your courage to try again. It's humbling, yes, but it's also clarifying. You start to see what matters. You start to see who matters. And maybe for the first time in your life, you're building not on shaky ground, but on a foundation that can actually hold the weight of your future. It's hard to see it when you're in the middle of it. Right now, you might only feel the loss, the shame, the heaviness pressing down on your chest. But rock bottom has a strange gift hidden inside it. It removes the noise. All the distractions fade. You're left with silence. And in that silence, you can finally hear the voice inside you that says, "This is not where it ends." I've seen people rebuild from nothing and create lives more beautiful than anything they lost. And do you know why? Because when you've been to the bottom, you stop being afraid of falling. The fear that held you back before, the fear of failure, of embarrassment, of rejection, suddenly loses its power. You've already fallen. You've already survived the thing you thought would destroy you. Now you understand you can survive again. That changes the way you move. That changes the way you fight. Rock bottom is not the grave. It's the starting line. You can't control the fact that life knocked you down, but you can decide what you'll do with this new foundation. You can lay brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice, until you've built something that even the storms can't take away. And here's what's incredible. The people who rise from rock bottom don't just build. They build differently. They build with deeper roots, stronger walls, and a clearer vision because they've learned what truly matters. You will find strength here that you never needed before. You'll discover skills you didn't know you had, resilience you didn't think was possible, and a confidence that can't be faked because it's been forged in real fire. You may have lost things, but you haven't lost yourself. And if you haven't lost yourself, you haven't lost the capacity to create something extraordinary. So maybe right now you feel like everything has been taken from you. Maybe you're looking around at the pieces of your life, wondering how they could ever come back together. But rock bottom is not where the story ends. It's where the rebuilding begins. And you have more in you than you think. You have more courage than you feel, and you have more life ahead of you than the pain is making you believe right now. The climb up won't be easy. You'll face days where progress feels too slow, where the weight feels too heavy, where the old fears try to whisper that you'll never make it. But every step forward, no matter how small, is proof that you're no longer stuck. You're moving, you're rising, and one day you'll stand on ground so solid, you'll look back at this moment and realize it didn't bury you. It built you. So if you're at rock bottom today, take a breath, feel the ground beneath you. It's firm, it can hold you, and from here, with steady steps and an unshakable spirit, you will rise, not just to where you were before, but higher than you've ever been. Because rock bottom is not the end. Rock bottom is the floor you can stand on, and from here, the only way left is up. When life shatters you, it doesn't ask permission. It doesn't give you time to prepare. One moment you're whole, or at least you think you are, and the next you're scattered in pieces you don't know how to hold together. It's overwhelming. It's disorienting. You look at yourself and wonder if you'll ever feel like the same person again. And maybe you won't, but maybe that's not a bad thing, because the truth is, broken pieces can build something stronger. We're taught to think of brokenness as the end, as if once something cracks, it loses all its value. But in reality, breaking is part of life's design. Nothing that grows stays untouched. Nothing that's truly alive escapes the seasons of being torn apart and put back together. And when you're willing to rebuild, those very pieces you thought were ruined become the foundation for a strength you couldn't have developed any other way. Think about the strongest structures in the world. Many of them aren't made from flawless material. They're made from pieces carefully joined together, reinforced in ways a single block could never be. The same goes for you. Every piece of your story, even the ones that feel jagged and uncomfortable, can be fitted into something more powerful than what stood before. I know it's tempting to mourn the old version of yourself. The one who was unscarred, the one who hadn't been hurt yet, the one who thought life was going to follow the perfect script. But that version of you couldn't have carried the weight you're about to carry now. That version of you hadn't yet learned what you're learning in this season. And yes, it's a painful education, but it's a priceless one. There's something remarkable about the way pain rearranges your priorities. Suddenly, the things that used to matter so much start to shrink in importance, and the things you used to overlook start to shine. You become more aware of people's kindness. You see beauty in small moments. You recognize your own resilience in ways you never had to before. These aren't just comforting thoughts. They're the gold holding your broken pieces together. And that's the thing. Being broken doesn't mean being useless. It means you've been tested. It means you've been exposed to the kind of pressure that can either crush you or carve you into something new. You get to choose which. You can sit among the pieces and weep over what's gone, or you can pick them up and decide, this will not be wasted. I will use this to build again. Rebuilding doesn't mean pretending it never happened. It means owning your scars and letting them be part of your design. It means creating a life that is not defined by the break, but by the comeback. In Japan, there's an art called kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold. The cracks are not hidden. They are highlighted, celebrated, made into something even more beautiful than before. You can live your life the same way. Let your cracks show. Let your story shine through them. People might look at you and see someone who's been through the fire, and they'll be right. But what they won't see is someone consumed by it. They'll see someone who came out with a fireproof soul. They'll see someone who didn't just survive, but grew stronger in the rebuilding. The process will take time. There will be moments you feel like you're making progress, and moments where it feels like you've slipped backward. But each day you keep going, you're proving to yourself that strength isn't about never breaking. It's about never staying broken. It's about deciding that even in pieces, you're still worth rebuilding. And here's the beautiful truth. When you rebuild yourself from brokenness, you don't just put the pieces back the way they were. You build differently. You build wiser. You build sturdier. You build with an understanding of your worth that can't be shaken by the same storms that once knocked you down. So maybe right now you feel fractured. Maybe you feel like too much is missing for you to be whole again. But remember this, your strength is not in being untouched. It's in how you rise from the places you've been broken. Your scars are not your weakness. They are the proof of your survival. They are the gold in your design. And when you finish this rebuilding, you won't just be whole again. You'll be something stronger, something braver, something that cannot be broken the same way twice. There's a moment after the storm when you realize you're still standing. You've been hit hard. You've been through pain you didn't think you could survive, but you're still here. And in that moment, there's a strange mix of relief and exhaustion. You're grateful you made it, but you're also so tired that survival feels like all you have the energy for. That's where a lot of people stop. They think, I've been through enough. I just need to catch my breath and coast from here. But here's the truth. Survival is not enough. If you stop there, you'll stay in the shadow of what you went through. You have to choose to rise. Surviving means you've endured what was meant to break you. Rising means you take that survival and turn it into something greater. Survival is hanging on by a thread. Rising is weaving that thread into a rope strong enough to pull you into a new life. One is about staying alive, the other is about living fully. Sometimes, after everything you've endured, it feels safer to stay low, to not hope too much, to not aim too high. You tell yourself you're protecting your heart, but what you're really doing is letting fear dictate your future. You've already been hurt, and the thought of trying again, of risking again, feels too dangerous. But here's the thing: the same courage that carried you through the pain is the courage that will lift you into your purpose. Choosing to rise means refusing to be defined by what happened to you. It means refusing to wear the label of victim when you're capable of wearing the title of victor. It's not pretending the pain didn't happen. It's looking at it squarely and saying, yes, that was real. Yes, it was hard, and still, I will build something out of it. Think about this: when you're at the bottom, every step upward feels heavy, but it also counts for more. The climb is where your character grows. Rising isn't about some dramatic overnight transformation. It's about small, deliberate choices, the choice to get up one more time when it's easier to stay down. The choice to open your heart to new opportunities instead of shutting the world out. The choice to believe that you're capable of more than just making it through. The difference between survival and rising is vision. When you're just surviving, all you can see is the next breath, the next day. But when you choose to rise, you start to see the bigger picture, the life that's waiting for you on the other side of fear. You start to imagine possibilities again, and that shift in vision changes everything. It won't happen without resistance. Your mind will try to pull you back into old habits. The world will remind you of the risks. Some people in your life may even be uncomfortable with your growth because it challenges them to face their own. But you can't shrink yourself to make others comfortable, and you can't let the past chain you to the ground. You've already proven you can survive. Now it's time to prove you can soar, and rising doesn't mean you have to be fearless. It means you move forward even with the fear. It means you carry the lessons from your wounds without letting them turn into walls that keep you from living. It means you embrace the unknown, trusting that you've been through enough to know you can handle whatever comes next. When you rise, you give meaning to your survival. You show yourself and the world that you didn't just endure the fire, you came out of it with something worth sharing. Your strength becomes a light for someone still sitting in the dark. Your story becomes a bridge for someone who doesn't yet believe they can cross. So yes, take a moment to honor the fact that you made it through. But don't stay there. Don't let the story of your life end with "I survived." Let it continue with "I rose," because survival might keep you alive, but rising is what will make that life worth living. And when you choose to rise, nothing, no storm, no scar, no setback, will ever have the power to keep you down again. Life has a way of breaking us without warning. Sometimes it's a slow crack that builds over time. Other times it's a sudden blow that leaves you breathless. You don't always see it coming, and you almost never get to choose when or how it happens. That's the thing about the breaking. You can't control it. You can't negotiate with it. You can't schedule it for a more convenient season. It shows up when it wants to, and it leaves you standing in the middle of a mess you didn't ask for. And in those moments, it's easy to get stuck in the why. Why did this happen? Why now? Why me? But the more you sit in that question, the more powerless you feel. Because the truth is, the breaking is rarely in your hands. But here's what is. What happens next? You may not get to choose the moment you're broken, but you do get to choose the way you rebuild, and that choice is everything. The breaking can take a lot from you. It can strip away your plans, your sense of security, your trust in people, even your trust in yourself. But it can never take away your ability to decide who you will become on the other side of it. That's the power you still hold, even when it feels like you've lost everything else. Rebuilding is not about pretending the breaking never happened. It's about creating something new in spite of it. and in some cases, because of it. The moment you decide to rebuild, you are declaring that the breaking will not be the final word in your story. You're refusing to be defined by a single moment in time, and instead, you're defining yourself by what you do with it. It's not going to be easy. Rebuilding takes patience you don't think you have, strength you're not sure exists yet, and a willingness to face the debris head on. But it also gives you something the breaking never could: control. You get to decide which pieces to keep and which to leave behind. You get to decide what stays in your life and what doesn't deserve to make the journey forward. You get to choose the shape, the structure, and the strength of what you're building next. Sometimes the breaking forces you to rebuild better. It pushes you to let go of weak foundations you didn't realize were holding you back. Maybe you were relying on things or people that were never strong enough to carry you. Maybe you were building a life that looked good from the outside but couldn't weather the storms. The breaking tears that down, but in doing so, it clears the space for something more solid to rise in its place. And here's the thing, rebuilding doesn't mean going back to how things were. You're not piecing together an old life, you're creating a new one. You're taking the lessons, the scars, the resilience you've gained, and you're using them as the blueprint for something stronger. This is your chance to build with intention, to design a life that reflects who you've become, not just who you were before the breaking. Along the way, you'll have moments when you want to quit, when the weight of the work feels heavier than the hope of what's ahead. That's when you remind yourself, this is the part you can control. You couldn't stop the storm, but you can decide to plant again after it's passed. You couldn't prevent the collapse, but you can lay new bricks with your own hands. That choice is yours, and no one, not the pain, not the loss, not the breaking, can take it from you. The day will come when you look around at what you've built and realize it's not just a replacement for what you lost. It's better. It's more grounded. It's more you. And you'll know that even though you couldn't control the breaking, you mastered the rebuilding. That's when the power shifts. That's when you stop seeing yourself as someone life happened to, and you start seeing yourself as someone who happened to life. So no, you can't always stop life from breaking you, but you can choose to rise from the rubble with purpose. You can choose to create something so strong, so intentional, so undeniably you, that no storm can take it apart the same way again. And when you do, you'll prove to yourself and to the world that the breaking was never the end. It was the beginning of the masterpiece you were always meant to build. People will notice when you fall. They'll talk about it, whisper about it, maybe even judge you for it. That's just the way the world works. Your collapse will always get attention, but here's what matters far more: what you do after. Because the truth is, your comeback will speak louder than your collapse ever could. The fall is often public, but the rise, oh, the rise is something you build in the quiet. It's in the mornings when you don't want to get up, but you do anyway. It's in the decisions you make when no one is watching. It's in the moments when you choose not to stay down, even though it would be easier to. Those choices, day after day, stack on top of each other until one day the world sees you again. And they don't just see you standing, they see you standing taller than before. The beautiful thing about a comeback is that it's undeniable. You can argue with opinions, but you can't argue with results. People may have counted you out, assumed you were done, convinced themselves you'd never recover. But when you come back, when you rise stronger, sharper, and more determined than ever, you turn every doubt into fuel. You make every assumption irrelevant. But here's the thing. Your comeback isn't just about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right. Deep down, even in your lowest moment, there's a voice inside you that refuses to believe this is the end. That voice may be quiet. It may be buried under layers of pain, fear, and exhaustion, but it's there. And when you choose to listen to it, when you decide to act on it, you begin the process of rewriting the story. And your story is powerful, not because it's perfect, but because it's real, because it shows that a human being can be knocked down, broken apart, stripped of almost everything, and still come back with more fire than they had before. That's what makes your comeback so much louder than your collapse. The collapse was a moment. The comeback is a movement. The road back won't be smooth. You'll face days when progress feels invisible, when the weight of starting over feels too much to carry. But every step you take in the right direction is proof that you are in motion, and momentum is a powerful thing. It grows, it builds, and before you know it, you're no longer crawling, you're walking. Then you're running, and eventually you're soaring. You'll know your comeback is taking shape when the pain that once consumed you starts to become fuel. When you stop wishing the past was different and start focusing on what you can create now. When you stop needing the approval of those who doubted you and start living for the vision you've set for yourself, that's when the balance shifts. That's when you start to realize that your collapse may have been the very thing that set the stage for your greatest chapter yet. People will see the strength, but they won't see every sleepless night, every moment of doubt, every tear you wiped away before facing the world, and that's okay. Your comeback doesn't need to be explained. It will be seen. It will be felt. It will be impossible to ignore. And here's what makes it even more powerful. Your comeback won't just inspire you, it will inspire others. There is someone right now who feels like they'll never get up again, who feels like their own collapse is the final scene. But when they watch you rise, when they see you not just survive but thrive, they'll start to believe they can do the same. Your story becomes a mirror, reflecting back the truth that it's never over unless you decide it is. So yes, people may remember the day you fell. They may remember the mistakes, the failures, the pain that brought you down, but your rise will echo louder. Your persistence will stand taller. Your transformation will outshine every shadow from your collapse. And when you finally stand on the other side, you'll realize something powerful. You were never defined by the fall. You were always defined by the way you chose to rise, because in the end, the collapse is just a chapter. The comeback is the legacy. And when you own that truth, nothing, not the past, not the pain, not the doubts, can silence the sound of your rise.